Yo, Fake Radio. Special guest in the building. Returning. Reintroduce yourself now they know what you look like.
What's up, everyone? Devin Ferreira here.
Devin Ferreira.
Returning to Fake Radio for the second time.
Yup. Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited to be back in the house.
Absolutely. We excited to have you. I started with an anecdote the first time I had you on. I'm going to start with an anecdote the second. Because so back when I had you on the first time, it was right before it was like 2020, right before the pandemic. And I had you on, I was doing this thing where, because I was working with the Hip Hop Society at the time, and so I was doing this thing where I would have someone on the podcast and then I would, like, invite them to, like, a Hip Hop Society, like, meeting, like, kind of gathering, at, like, for the week after. That was kind of, like, I did it with Tayshawn, I did it with Clark, I think. I did it with, whoever I was interviewing. And when I had you on, it happened to be the next Hip Hop Society, like, get-together that I had going on was it was the, like, album, like, listening party experience.
Yep.
You remember that. And so there are a lot of people, like, we were inviting a lot of people that we knew to, like, everyone in that crew. So we, like, kept running downstairs, like, letting people in. Because, Emerson Security, they don't play. So, we had to, like, show the ID, be like, oh, this is my, you know what I'm saying, all that.
Yeah, so it's all coming back.
Yeah. And I remember, so I was, like, bringing, like, a bunch of people up. And then I, like, came down to get you. And then we went to the security guards, and the security guard started, like, tearing up. Like, he knew, like, he was one of your, like, he was with you.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, damn, like that's...
Oh, he dances.
Yeah, he's a dancer.
Okay, I remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't even know he danced.
I think his name is Kai.
Yeah.
Moonlight.
I got his... That's cool you remember that. Yeah,
of course,
I got his info, like, after that, because he was dancing, like, after. But I was like, oh, damn, he just knows like, man, people just know.
Yeah, shout out the homie.
Shout out Moonlight.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that, but now that you bring it up, I remember.
Yeah, that was just a crack. I was like, oh shit, people really know Devin out here.
No doubt.
But you know what I'm saying. So we interviewed the first time, got a lot of new music out.
Yeah.
Now you got you teach at Berkley now.
Teach at Berkley now. Yeah. That's changed. Yeah.
So when did that come about?
This is I think I've completed 3 full years now.
Okay.
So maybe I think I started like September 2021. I want to say.
Got you.
Yeah. So I think I'm teaching my 9th semester so far.
Got you.
3 semesters a year.
Cool. And what classes do you teach over there?
Well, I've probably taught like 20-something different classes.
Yeah.
But they all fit into the realm of music production and engineering, and or music business, or kind of independent music business related stuff.
Got you. And when I met you, I think you just stopped working at the Boys and Girls Club and you were pursuing music. Since then the pandemic happened and all that.
Yep.
So I'm assuming because I know you teach on Zoom. Is that been the like norm for your classes?
So no. This is I've been teaching in person.
Got you.
For the last 3 years.
Got you.
But when I was debating moving out to LA, I talked to the chair and the assistant chair of the program that I work in.
Yeah.
And I kind of, asked them if I were to make the transition, could I continue to teach my classes? And they, graciously allowed me to teach my classes remotely, so I can be here and pursue music full time and still get to teach the classes I've gotten a chance to design and stuff like that. So I feel really fortunate to be able to do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So it's new. It's sort of a new experience. I'm getting used to it.
Yeah. And I think right after we did the interview, you dropped the Seeds of Greatness EP.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So wait, when did we do this? Do you remember when it was when we did the first
February 2020. February 2020.
So it was literally right before the pandemic happened.
Yeah, because I remember right after our interview, we went to like a Black History thing, and we ran into Exo Shaquem there.
And then before we knew it, the pandemic happened.
Yeah, I remember it was because I remember I went to 5 functions that night, and I was like bouncing around like party to party until like 2 a.m. and then I like came back and I was like, that should be illegal that I just like did. And then like 2 weeks later, the pandemic happened.
Yeah. So we okay. So when that happened,
Yeah.
I had all these gigs and events and shows, and just like summer was just stacked with events and stuff.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, it all just got shut down, right? Like for everybody. And then I ended up being up in Maine with my family for a while during the pandemic.
Got you.
And that was when I was like, okay, I'm going to drop the Seeds of Greatness EP. And I kind of then like pitched it through Bandcamp.
Yeah.
And like all of my supporters were like so supportive during that time, and kind of like subsidized, they like bought the album basically. And like on Bandcamp they're able to like pay as much as you want.
Yeah.
So I remember like, like I couldn't perform, so I remember pushing that project.
Right.
And then that kind of kept me busy, and then I transitioned back into Boston and then started kind of like remote teaching.
Yeah.
And just did that thing for a year, and then
Gotcha.
as the world kind of opened back up, I kind of picked up the Berkley job.
Got you. And where were you teaching remote?
So that year, so the year that was like September, like the pandemic started in like March, so like that September,
yeah,
I was teaching for Massasoit Community College remotely.
Okay.
Along with like a few other partnerships that I had kind of like kept going with, like Boston Lyric Opera and like so I did that for a year, and then I never really fully intended to teach college in the way that I am. I think the pandemic kind of challenged me to do so.
Got you. Okay. Yeah.
And then one of my mentors kind of was like, hey, like I see you're working at Massasoit, like you should come work at Berkeley, and helped kind of bridge that gap for me.
Got you.
And then I kind of leaned into that the last 3 years, and like I'm obviously still have been producing and creating and growing as an artist, but I've been all in at Berkeley. And then the last year I was like asking myself some of those questions, like, is this the right balance for me as an artist, as an educator? And that's kind of one of the reasons that I've embarked on this like epic voyage.
Yeah.
To find that balance. Yeah.
To LA. Yeah. Yeah. And you were talking about it a little like a few weeks ago when I saw you, but what was like your reasoning? What were you getting? What were you not getting in Boston that you wanted from LA, and why LA specifically?
So let's put it this way. I suppose. As music artists, we have it kind of like musicians have like an interesting calling and an interesting path, like everything kind of matters, right? Like how much you get to record and write and perform, and then when you get to shows, like what type of shows they are, and then like also too, like the conditions of the city that you're in, like weather plays a factor in like whether people are willing to come out and support the movement. Parking is always a thing, and in the wintertime. So just basically all these parameters, right? And it's like the opportunities that exist in certain cities, if you're going to commit your whole life to pursuing something, you want to feel like there's a high upside, you don't want to feel like you're working on a hamster wheel, so to speak, and I'm not saying that's what Boston is like, because I would be, I would not be telling the whole story. It was like, if I was not to admit that like Boston is an awesome city and held me down mad long and provided me opportunity after opportunity. And I'm so thankful for that. And like literally, my closest friends are there and everything. And so that's how I feel about that. With that being said, I was there for almost 15 years.
Right.
And I felt like as an artist, you just always want to keep challenging yourself. And so I started like marinating on that. Like, what's the next challenge? Like, I did 2 Ironmans. Like, I don't know if you followed along, but like these ultra endurance efforts, and that felt like a challenge. But then when that wrapped up, I was like, what is the next challenge?
Right.
And then I joined, so I got accepted into the recording academy last year.
Okay, that was last year.
Yeah, so that allowed me to come out here and tap in on a different level.
Got you.
And then I was just like, remember like feeling like super like comfortable here and at peace and optimistic about my art form and my craft and and you know, just the fact that like the music industry is thriving here. There's so many dream chasers here. The weather is immaculate.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, there's a lot of like protected bike trails here.
That's true.
So you can bike and run
That's
like pretty much endlessly without having to worry about cars and traffic.
Yeah.
My girlfriend is from north of LA. Okay. So she's like a SoCal girl, and it was not a tough sell for her when I started kind of floating it out there. So that kind of added into it. And then in addition, like, yeah, just like, man, like, you know, you came out here, like, you just, if you only live once, right? And if you don't make the move is not going to get made for you. And there's something to be said about chasing the dreams.
Yeah, LA, I feel weird because you know better than a lot of people out here. Yeah. The Boston music scene is one of the most incredible, like, music scenes out there. But definitely for me, and, you know, I originally moved out here for film. But definitely, like, LA is one of those cities, like, I hate when, I roll my eyes when people say it, but of the whole, like, it's an experience to live out in LA, and that's, like, that's just, like, that is factual. Like, it is kind of, like, an experience. Like, there is a lot of stuff that you learn. I've learned a lot out here. Yeah. For sure. So, and it's one of those places that it's, like, it's tricky to kind of, like, find your like, hold, but once you get it, it's, like, things just kind of move at, like, a very steady pace. So, I definitely like that. I'm excited to see your journey. Yeah. And your how you kind of make the LA experience.
Yeah, it's different to each person, and like it also, what I've noticed is it probably sort of is what you make it. Like if you just stay in the house and you don't do anything, it's pretty much just like anywhere else. Yeah. But like if you put yourself out there and like, you know, forge relationships and build community up and engage with the community, then it can become, you know, very fruitful. Just in this, I've been here for not even a whole month yet, and I've already connected with so many amazing artists and seen a bunch of cool events, gotten opportunity to perform both as an MC and a saxophonist. I've booked paid gigs. I've got other kind of community-based opportunities on deck. I'm doing this podcast with you. I've been to the beach like 10 times. For real? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've eaten some of like the most delicious food. Yeah. Cause like I'm staying in East LA right now, and the food there is just like
East LA got good food.
It hits a whole other level. I feel like I'm like getting to experience something really unique and special. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just, you know, and then I'm getting to maintain like working and still teaching, which is something important to me. And you know, one of my students, I helped, you know, I kind of like mentored him a little bit and helped him and wrote him a recommendation for the Recording Academy, and I found out today that he got in. He got into the Recording Academy. Yeah, so it's like, and he's coming out here, so it's like, you know, there's like, you know, doors opening too.
When you say you got into the Recording Academy, what, like, so you're a member of the Recording Academy?
Yeah, so basically like the way that it works is, you know, for those people who may not be 100% sure, the Recording Academy is the organization that hosts the Grammys. Yeah. So that's kind of like their main thing every year, but like they're an organization that exists year round. They have different chapters throughout the United States. And what they do is like so that you basically apply for membership. And what that means is if you get accepted, you can do a bunch of different things. So one of the things that you can do is if you become a voting member, you can submit things for consideration to be nominated in all the different categories. That's cool. Then once you submit everything, then you also get an opportunity to vote on what gets nominated, and then when things get nominated, they send another ballot out and you can vote for the winners. Yeah. And that's ultimately how they come up with the winners. So that's kind of like perhaps like the structure of it, but throughout the course of the year you just get invited to all sorts of events, and so you get tapped in you can like there was like a new member orientation last summer, and I met like some awesome people that I've already been able to tap in with since I've been here. And so beyond, you know, the event, the Grammys, and the voting and the submitting things, it allowed me to tap into like a really unique network of people that are all industry professionals, and I just felt like I had a lot in common with them.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. And do you vote in the...
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Well, I've done 1 year, like last year, but yeah, I voted.
That's cool.
You know, PJ Vegas is an artist I met. I voted for him kind of up and down. And then there's another artist, Caesar, who I've been connecting with. He invited me out to some events, so shout out the homies. Yeah, they're holding it down.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Yep. And your boy won the Grammy last year.
What, Clark?
Yep, Clark.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was exciting for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I personally think that Clark's journey is just, you know, barely scratching the surface right now.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Like, every time I see him, I'm like, how do you feel, bro? Because he really, everything's going, like, from my eyes, but, like, I don't, you know, I barely see him, but from my eyes, like, everything is just kind of going right for that. Like, every time I see him, I'm like, whoa, like, he's doing that, like, so.
Something I love about Clark is, like, he brings people together.
Yeah.
And he can make people feel like, I don't know, like, he's got such a strong personality that, like, if he's feeling inspired, and it's like he can inspire everyone around him.
Yeah.
And that's true. I think real leadership, and what I really appreciate and respect about him is that if you believe in Clark D, then I don't think he'll lead you astray. Like, he's something and someone to believe in. If you were going to put your hope and faith in a person, I think Clark is a great option of someone to trust, because I just seen him. He's been ultra steady and consistent, and you know, and he's talented. He's humble. He's faithful. Keeps family around him. You know, he cares about his health and wellness.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So it's only a matter of time. I mean, he racked up I think like a couple Grammys this time, but then when he gets the more music that he puts out, I think that it's just the beginning. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I see a lot of people out here with similar energy and similar kind of like, similar vibes and similar stuff. And like, I'll see similar performing styles, and I'll see them do stuff over here, even come on this podcast, and I'll be like, oh, that's surreal. Like, I really captured that, or like, I really just saw that moment. And then like 6 months, like 2 years later, I'll see them like blowing up on something, and I'll be like, yo.
What do they do? Are they blowing up on like social media? Are they blowing up on stages?
Yeah, like, I mean, I just mentioned it in the last show. Homie Jaden Dante Greer, who I think you met briefly at the showcase. That dude, he came on here. He did like I think it was like a 2-hour episode.
Oh, no doubt.
Over here. And he was just saying all this stuff, and I was like, wow. Like, I was just kind of just listening. I was like, wow, he really has like a lot to say.
Where is he from?
He's from San Jose. You can check out his episode if you're not.
Nice.
The audio's whack on that episode because the shit wasn't syncing, but don't let it betray you from listening. It's a really great interview, but he was just saying his album just released, so it came out Christmas of 2023, and I really liked it. It was like 5 years in the making. We talked, we chopped it up. He was 2 hours. He had a lot to say, a lot to get off his chest, but he was really like communicating it like so effectively, and I was like, wow, you really got something to say, and it's like the right shit to say, and you're really like, and he also like. He had so much to say about like his friends and his community too. Yeah. And that's real when you put so much in like your people like that. I really respect that. And then he 2 weeks but he was like, I'm dropping a short film. I was originally going to I pushed the interview because I was originally going to interview him right after the short film, but I kept seeing him around, and I was like, and I interviewed all of his like friends, so I was like, let me just get the interview. Because it's like, because I remember I introduced a friend of mine to like that whole group, and I was like, oh, I've had all these people on except Jaden, and I was like, I can't say that, so I had to have him on the show, and so I had him before the short film released. the short film came out maybe like 2 or 3 weeks after the interview, and last night I think he played it at a huge film festival in Seattle. It has 130K on YouTube.
That's what's up.
People are like, all of his friends are in it. I went to the screening at Slide Through Venue. Shout out. Like I read the comments one time, and people are like, "This is the next Odd Future. This is Black surrealism at its finest." And it's like he was explaining, like he was displaying in the album and in the short film, like everything that he was saying on my podcast. And now, peace out. And so a lot of people like around me were like, "Oh, it's so crazy that he's like going viral like this," and I was like, "That's not surprising," because like I saw him and I knew that how he was portraying himself, how he was I knew that was gonna translate into something.
You could see it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, like I'll say, not someone on this podcast, but Tommy Richmond, who's blowing up right now with $1 Million Baby. I saw him. I didn't like him. This is I'm calling myself out. I wasn't a huge fan of his music at first. I saw him live like 3 or 4 times because he was just, people opening up for him. Like I knew, and like I knew some people who were doing showcases that he was performing at. Yeah. And, like at first I was like, this is just like some Brockhampton kind of style stuff. But then I saw him perform with My Name Isn't J-Mac at a Sunday Sounds maybe a year and a half ago, and I was like, oh, this is like like this feels like some like Coachella level, like just crazy stuff in this small venue. Like this is definitely gonna go a long way. So then when like a lot of people right now are
so saying, wait, that artist you're talking about, I know the song.
Yeah.
Is from out here, lives out here?
He's from Virginia. He moved out here around the same time I did, and he was around the right people, and I kind of luckily stumbled upon the right people. And so he's like, he's definitely an artist that you'll see around here a lot.
That's what's up.
He's one of those like it's mad funny now because like I'll see him at events and I'm like, people are looking at you different now because it's like at first you were just like another performer, but now it's like that's Tommy Ritt, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's mad funny. I met him a few times.
That's exciting, you know, like to you know, when you see people around you that have the thing, like even just like the other night at that event we went to, like you're watching the artist and you're just like, oh, this person's different, you know, like they have a unique thing about them. It's like, I see why you moved here, you know, I see why you left home to pursue this thing, you know. It's exciting, you know?
I don't know, I've never been, or I've been to New York, but I've never lived in New York. I've never been to Atlanta. I want to go to both of those places, but definitely out here, like the people who I'm talking about, like they did it because they were out here, like you know, grinding. Like Slide Through Venue, where Jaden premiered the short film, like that place has a lot of history, a lot of like stuff going on like within the LA community, and the fact that he wanted to do a screening there kind of solidified that like all like 40 people, 50 people in that room, like those were like fans who were gonna push it, you know what I'm saying? Like,
how long do you think it takes, like, for someone to, like, if you were going 100%, and you move out here and you go 100%, how long do you think it might take for someone to build a 50-person following? You know,
it depends.
Say the person's like real nice at what they're doing, and they're dedicated.
It depends on how many people you know out here already, how much work you've been putting in before. Like just how like again, like I think right people is a thing too, because some people just, you know, there's a lot of people out here who are just like whack, like, and I remember when I first moved out here, because, you know, more Emerson alumni live in LA than they do in Boston, which is where I went to school. That's one of the big reasons that I moved.
Because Emerson's big on like film videography and things, so this is kind of the logical.
Yeah. So when I moved out here, my entire social circle was Emerson kids, and I transferred to Emerson, and I was living off campus for a long time, so I didn't really know a lot of these Emerson people like that. I knew Addie, I knew Devin Jack, but I didn't really know a lot of people outside. So a lot of the social circle that I had in my first year of LA were just people who went to Emerson like me, you know. And a lot of those people were just super whack and weird and like kind of just clout chasing, kind of like no values, like they like just kind of just random people who were just too obsessive over certain things, and they weren't focused on the right stuff, in my personal opinion. And so it took a long time for me at least to kind of break out of like, you know, like maybe, you know, right when I moved here, like my weekend was going to 2 Emerson parties, but now my weekend is going to, you know, like 3 or 4 shows with people who aren't part of that. So
yeah, you're kind of you're like breaking out of that kind of Emerson bubble.
Yeah,
that
and
existed.
I love the Emerson bubble too. A lot of Emerson kids pull up to me at these shows, and I'm always like very appreciative of that. I think it's really good because I think that's another important thing too. Is I think the most important thing, especially out here, is to build a fan base.
Yeah.
Like to build, and that's why, you know, me and Eddie got like normal jobs too. So it's like I work at a school, he works at Universal. So it's like we can always kind of bring in just kind of people who aren't really part of the like music scene.
You can invite people in.
Yeah, like people who just kind of like
Yeah.
like they're just, you know, teachers or like people who are working at Universal, you know, like not into music, and they go to the Adamir show and they're like, whoa, and then they're like, you know, they can't miss the Addy show because it's like, you know, that's I would say that's a big part of it. And yeah, also just like there's a mutual respect for people who just live out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I met Danny Brown maybe like 2 months in, and he like dabbed me up and we were just talking. And he like I could tell I was like, oh, like he knows that I'm, you know, like he's in LA. Like he knows, he kind of gets it. Like I'm not just like a fan from like Idaho or something that's just coming out. I'm in LA, you know, like
doing
kind
it.
of yeah. And it's like a small thing that he's at, like, or you'll just run it. Like I ran into Smino like a few weeks ago, like that, and like people just kind of know. And I'm assuming that there's other cities like that in the U.S., but LA is definitely the one that I'm in. I'm grateful for it.
Yeah,
sure.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Yeah. But back onto you. You've been putting in a lot of work that I've been seeing. I love the Garden EP that you had.
Yep.
That was, and I like that you had like different instrumentation on because I know you had the Overcomer EP. It was kind of like more acoustic based, and then you had like the Gardener EP, which was more, you know, jazz.
I did. Which one came? I'm trying to think which one came out first. I think the Garden Project came out first.
Yeah.
I did 5 kind of seed or garden related projects in a row.
Right. Yeah.
Or was it 4? Basically, there was Mustard Seed,
Yep.
Seeds of Greatness,
Uh huh.
Rooted in Faith,
Right. Yep.
and then the Garden Project.
Yeah.
And the Garden Project was all live instrumentation.
Right. Yeah.
And I got a bunch of good features.
You had a band for that?
Yeah, like we went and recorded at the Record Co.
Okay. Yep. I know that place.
And yeah, shout out to like Calvin.
Yep.
And Aaron on drums, and Dennison played sax,
Yep.
and Dooley, this guy Dooley, my boy Alvin helped co-produce the whole thing.
Yeah. You work with Alvin a lot, right?
Yeah.
I see him on
He's in New York. He's doing his thing.
Okay, got you.
But
Yeah,
we've stayed locked in, and now that I'm out here,
Yeah.
like I anticipate being able to connect even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did the live project, and then I went and I recorded the Overcomer in New York at Quad Studios.
Okay, you did that in New York.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, Alvin co-produced that and like wrote a lot of the guitar parts.
Got you.
And I think we did that at the Record Co, but like when it came to like mixing and tracking, we did that at Quad Studios.
Yeah.
Dropped that, and then
Then you did the one where it had Coming to Life on
Yeah,
it, where you
then
were,
I-
like singing.
yeah, then I did Come Into Life. That had Ride With Me. If you want to ride, then ride with me.
Yeah.
That was kind of, I wrote that song for like a year. And then I wrote this album, like I kind of like got these 8 songs like kind of done.
Yeah.
And like they were like mostly live instrumentation as well. But like it just started to drag. It was taking me forever to get it done. Because the production was really good, but it was also very intricate, so it was just hard to mix, and there were some pieces that got kind of lost in the sauce. So anyway, that started dragging, and then I'm like, this is dragging, and it's taking the fun out of it. So then I was like, I started working with a producer, John Raitt, who, you know, is absolutely fantastic, and we ended up doing a few tracks together, and then we got dialed in, and then I just started dropping track after track after track, and then now he's helping me like finish mixing that album that I kind of put on hold. So basically what's happening now is I've dropped 9 songs in a row. And then my 10th song in that style is going to come out in 1 week. Like,
okay. Oh,
next Friday.
Okay, so you're gonna drop like a whole project,
Well,
but it's gonna be like those songs.
So it's basically like 9 songs.
Yeah.
I kind of dropped a 10-song album, one at a time.
Yeah.
You know, to just like increase the like visibility of each particular song. So I've done 9 so far.
Got you.
And then the 10th one, the song called Cross Country, which is basically about my like voyage driving across country.
He drove out here.
Yeah.
That's the real way to come out.
Yeah.
I did not do that.
I took like a week. I took like 8 days to do it.
Yeah, no.
So I made a song about that. Mm-hmm. So that'll drop a week from this Friday.
Yeah.
And then after that, all of those songs that I kind of shelved for a while are done, and I'm gonna drop them a week at a time. So it's like I'm very excited. So the summer vibes are gonna hit a little different because the songs are just different. Like they're still me, like still rap, still saxophone, but like live drums on pretty much every track. Like a lot of dance, kind of like danceable music. Like so that's kind of the tip I'm on right now. You know.
Yeah. And that's the way to do that, because like if you just moved out here, you're trying to get on stages. Like I just dropped a song last week. Like that's just kind of
it's fun to stay active. Like I talk a big game. Like I've talked a big game like with my students and just everyone, and it's like it'd be easy to just like drop an album like every year or two and just like rest on like my accomplishments of the past.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like if you're not pushing it, if you're an artist and you're not getting with the times and changing with the times and doing your damn thing, then you just get stale, and like you're always talking about something that happened in the past and you're not talking about what's happening in the now.
Sure.
And so it's like, like I had viral moments in the past and I built online fan bases starting in 2006 when we were using like, I don't even remember the name of like the streaming platforms we were using, but like I was using streaming platforms before even MySpace existed.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we built online things, but it's like, you know, we had viral moments come and go, but it's like every 6 months, it's like a whole new music industry. So it's like either get hip or dip, you know? So right now I'm trying to like grow my Spotify listenership and like grow my like, you know, Apple Music and all that kind of stuff through social media and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like I just want to like I like doing that. I enjoy doing that. I love recording. I love releasing music in an effort to, you know, get on stage, you know, and connect with the people who connect to music and build that community. You know, that's like that's kind of why I'm here. You know,
absolutely.
So that's what I'm in the middle. 61 songs I have out on Spotify.
61. There we go.
There's probably like 50 or more on SoundCloud that aren't on Spotify. But when you're talking about Spotify records, which are ones that are fully original and like, you know, I produced all the music, or at least some of them I had some co-production, but all my stuff like 61. That's what
you got some fire features too. I saw you had the OG Just Jill on a song.
Just Jill did a record. It's called Community Garden. She was on the first one. Shout out Just Jill. Held that down. Bless that. That track.
How'd you meet Paul Willis? Because I've never...
At a Bridgeside site.
You met him? Okay. Because he sounded familiar, but I don't know if I've ever like...
Paul also featured on a bunch of those songs.
Yeah.
And Paul and I have become good friends. And
got you.
Actually, one of the new songs that'll be coming out soon, I think it was called Stop Playing Around.
Yeah, Stop Playing Around. Okay,
Paul's on that as well.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that to come out because Paul might not even remember. Like, Paul will remember we did that song, but like, when I be like, oh, this is coming out, he can be like, oh shoot, I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, that's all one. Yep. And I see with Priceless and what like Never Stop is the new.
I have Never Given Up. I have Priceless. And I have Next Move. Those are recent ones,
right. They got the graffiti style. Is the new album gonna be in like a kind of graffiti?
I got on that kind of like graffiti train, and I like those. Like I'm messing with the cover art and making them. And I just feel like when you drop so much music, it's hard to come up with like. You don't want to use the same album art, but you want them to find some sort of a groove. So I've been liking kind of the graffiti. The fluorescent colors are kind of like eye-catching.
Yeah.
They're easy to make like other types of visuals related. So at least for this next song, Cross Country, I'm going to make it in that style as well.
Got you.
And then for this next batch of 8 songs, I don't know. I might find a kind of a different like theme to go with, but I haven't fully thought that through yet.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. And that's you playing sax on all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
I'm trying to like, you know, some like people know me as an artist know I rap and play saxophone.
Yeah.
But like I didn't take the saxophone like as seriously as I do now. For instance,
Got you.
I'd always like play it at every show, but I didn't always play it on every song.
Yeah.
But now it's like I play it on every single song.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm like,
What made you wanna have it on every song?
I love the instrument a lot, and I
Yeah.
also got a new tenor saxophone,
Got a new one. Okay.
and I invested in that, and like alto will always be like the alto sax that I have, which is you know smaller than the tenor. I got that instrument in 2006, and when I was still in high school.
Yeah.
And that was the instrument that like got me into college, through college, and so I love that instrument.
Yeah.
And it means a lot to me. With that being said, though, as a saxophonist, I feel more confident and comfortable with a tenor saxophone.
Yeah.
And so maybe like 10 years ago, I had bought a tenor, but it was like used and it was like really crappy. So when it worked, it was fun, but it always was breaking, so that really sucked. So I ended up like getting it repaired and kind of keeping it pushing with that particular instrument. And then I waited and I waited and I waited and I saved up and like played a bunch of different ones and like found the one that I wanted and the look of the one that I wanted, and finally like a year ago was able to cop that. So that's just made playing so much more fun, and I think it's a unique thing that I can do, and you know, like it allows me to express two different sides of my artistic creativity, you know, like the MC side is like where I put all the stories together and the wordplay and the lyricism and freestyling, and but then with the saxophone, I don't have to think about words at all. I can just think about melodies and grooves and rhythms and harmonies and stuff. And so it's like when you do it right, it's just like, I don't know, you feel like you're expressing yourself in a really unique way. And when you perform with a saxophone, like it's hard to grab people's attention as an MC. Like everybody, it seems like, is good in one way or another, like that I've been seeing. So it might take people a little while to be like, okay, I really F with that rapper.
Yeah.
But when you pull out a saxophone and start ripping a saxophone, you grab everyone's attention.
That's
and people are like,
another
oh,
way.
wow, I'd never seen that before. So then you can, so then it's like, okay, I've got your attention. Now I can deliver some of these lyrics and then give you a break from the lyricism, rip on the saxophone. You know, it's like, it's another tool that you can use to engage the audience. And it's a tool that I'm really passionate about.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Do you try to get people to like freestyle on the saxophone?
So when I play or just in general? Do I
when
freestyle on saxophone?
When you play, like, have you ever done that? Have you brought out and then have other people?
Oh, if I ever have them try it?
Yeah, like have them try to rap while you're playing.
Oh.
Because I remember one time you were beatboxing and people were freestyling.
So yeah, let me think.
Yeah.
I have definitely had people freestyle and I'll play saxophone with them.
Got you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've done that at a Bridgeside show. There was an event, like, you know, like I'll have the sax and it's just like you can just like add little complimentary things, and then then they'll look to you and instead of spitting a verse, they'll like hold the microphone and the saxophone and you just rip along. But like, yeah, like I haven't honestly, like freestyling is a huge passion of mine, and that's why I like the Bridgeside Syph crew because they keep freestyling in the forefront of the community. I haven't tapped in yet, so if people know of where freestyling and ciphers happen here in LA, I'm sure you probably are tapped in to some degree, but anyone that's watching can drop a comment. I'd love to come out and even just support the movement.
Yeah, absolutely. No, there's a lot of really cool. Honestly, Bridgeside, like there are some there's some good freestyle
Ciphers out here.
Ciphers out here, yeah. Bridgeside was a really, really cool one.
Yeah.
But there's some cool ones out here too.
I met someone the other night who said they're gonna invite me to a cipher, but we haven't gone yet. But hopefully soon.
Is it Bananas? Is the only one I know.
I don't remember what they called it. I'm gonna tap back in with this person. They seem they freestyled and they wanna, you know, do a session.
Yeah. I missed you. I went to like two Bridgeside ciphers when I was back in Boston
I tried to tap in as much as I could. I went to a lot of the ones that were at the skate park. Did you ever go to one at the skate park?
I went to the ones at the skate park. Yeah, it's hard to like, cause I'm like, I don't, like I have scoliosis, so it's hard to like walking down. But I've been, so it's hard to like mingle as much as I do in the alley. But I went to one that Eva did like at the park. At the park with like an R&B one. That one was cool. With like
That's what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, but I like going, but like it's nostalgic every time I go back because I'm like, oh, they're still here, but oh, they're new, like random, like new, like kids who like I was them back when I was younger. Yeah. Like it's always cool whenever I'm over there.
That's what's up.
Cool. Back on so Overcomer, you recorded in New York. Mm-hmm. That was a really cool one to me. That song "Find Yourself." That song.
Hey.
What was the story of that song?
I find yourself.
Yeah.
Find yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The Overcomer project for me was. I had just gone through some personal life stuff.
Yeah.
That would kind of hit hard.
Yeah.
And it kind of like took me out of feeling tapped into my purpose.
Yeah.
And so the Overcomer project starts out very acoustic and very contemplative.
Yeah.
And as it progresses, it adds add drums into it.
Yeah.
I add some electric guitar, some distortion and stuff. And by the end of it, I'm just like, on the last song, I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
That song "Find Yourself" I think is the fourth song out of 5, so it's like that's like at the back end of that project, and that's where I'm starting to like rediscover like who I am, and that was where I was coming from on that particular record. Like I struggle with that song. A lot of those songs were kind of easy to make and fun to make. "Find Yourself" was one that like we reworked a bunch of times, and if you can hold on, like if a song is being challenging, like it's not sitting right with you, if you can fight through it, sometimes those become the best ones.
That's true.
And I think my homie Blondie, he played on drums on that song. So I remember I recorded those in Boston. But we mixed it all at the studio in New York.
Got you. Yeah. And that's one of your more personal projects.
I think so. It's one that I don't really promote because it's like, it's there for people who want to listen to it.
Got you.
And it's meaningful to me, and I think it's well produced. But since it's so personal. Like, I was just thinking about it. There's a song on there called "Clarity."
Yeah, I like
and
that
like,
one too,
I think about that song a lot.
Yeah.
It's like just guitar, bass. It's like guitar. I think there's bass in it, but it's like just bar work, and then a cool kind of catchy chorus. And that was like smack dab in the middle. That was like number 3.
Yeah.
And I think about that song a lot. And I think when the time is right, like those songs might come back to me a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's one of those projects that I made for me.
Yeah.
And when people stumble upon that, like, I had someone reach out and say that they heard that song "Clarity" recently, and they're like, I really mess with that song. So it's like, I want that to be like a gem. Like, people, it's like not going to be like, it's not the project that I'll promote hard or like try to get everyone to listen to this song or that song, but it's like for the people who listen to my catalog and they come on that album, you're gonna get to know me better and probably tap into something in yourself too because of kind of the content of that particular project.
That's true, because I kind of just saw, the exact how you described it, that's exactly how, because I kind of I was like, oh, Devin dropped a new, and then I like listened, I was like, oh shit, he's really saying some shit. So I definitely thought that one too. I had to ask. But you got the new stuff now. I heard "Stop Playing Around" is a new one.
Yep. Unreleased.
Journey Awaits.
That came out.
That was like your first in your like run of
It was one of the first.
Yeah.
It was like we did a few before. We did what was that? Okay, we did "No Fear Now," which was one. And we did "Something's on the Way." Yeah. "Something's on the Way" was the first. We dropped that in like the beginning of January.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Then "No Fear Now" came out, and then I can't remember if there was something else. But then "Journey Awaits" came out.
That was the start of your like 2-week
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that was the
Yeah,
start
yeah.
of the 2-week
Yeah.
mission, and then that was an epic song because shout out to I have a really great supporter named Mark,
Got you.
and he has been very instrumental in just kind of encouraging me to continue to make music and release music, and I wanted to do something to thank this person for just being there. Like I never met this person in real life, even though we FaceTimed at this point, but like. He just jumped on and was supporting the movement, and I was so thankful to have someone like that supporting. I was like, hey, I want to make a song for you, and if so, what would you want the song to be about? And he came up with the idea Journey Awaits and wrote me this whole paragraph, and then I took it and built that song out of it and dedicated that song to him. And it was crazy because but it was almost like we both felt like it was bigger than that. Like he gave me the message that I needed for myself anyway. Because I was the Journey Awaits. Like, I was about to live that, and I was moving, but nobody knew yet because I had still had to move things into place. I hadn't let the world know I was moving, so I got to make this song and express these things and these feelings like in a way that was personal, authentic to me, connected to helping someone else portray their message. And kind of like tip the world off, like clue the world in that this epic journey is awaiting. And then not to mention, I still like the song. And I think that people who listen to it might encourage them to embark on whatever journey that they have in store, and that's...
For real.
That's what I'm excited about.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know you're producing these
Yeah,
songs
so I think out of the 9... I played a significant role in the production of 7 of them.
Okay.
Or 6 of them.
Got you. I know you do saxophone and all.
Yeah, I do saxophone on all of them. So John is so Something's on the way. No Fear Now and Never Given Up. Were John and his crew. I think Nico and some people he works with. They helped put together those 3 instrumentals. Like I kind of like gave ideas of what I wanted them to sound like, some reference mixes, and kind of helped like as more of maybe an executive producer. And but then they chefed up those beats, and then I laid saxophone, wrote the vocals, and then we got Nicole and Maxine to do features on those particular songs. But then the 7 others that are in that style, I kind of like I made like demos of the beats, and then John like enhanced them by like fleshing out the drums, adding kind of bass, and then like mixing the tracks for me.
Who did the beat for Priceless?
I did that.
Oh, that one goes hard.
Like I was chopping up samples and stuff and everything, but like that was a cool beat. Like I had fun making that. And then John will take my kind of like rough ideas and then like kind of polish up the drums, and I think he added some low end stuff, some like sub bass stuff. So it's like we've been saying like I list us both as producers, but like in just so that we both show up on Spotify, but like it's kind of a good like co-production type situation, Cool. And then it's like since I'm kind of like picking the samples and like the chord progressions and stuff, like I already know their songs I want to rap on, So then it's like he puts his like special talent on the records, and then that kind of teamwork has helped out.
And you got the song Never Give Up with Maxine. I know you have a lot of songs with Ava Sophia, which we talked about last time. How do you like with Maxine and the other kind of vocalists, like how do you kind of how do you know which vocalists you open mics? How did you come in contact with Maxine?
I want to do more features. So I'm always open to features, and like I try to like, well, in this particular situation with Maxine, John knows Maxine. So actually, Maxine I think just graduated from Berkley.
Okay.
So
was
John,
she one of your students?
At one point, yeah.
Okay, wow. Okay.
But that was like early on, and then we kind of like she went on to do her own thing. I was doing my own thing, but then John, as my co-producer, knows Maxine. They've worked together on projects. So when we were looking for a feature, he got her to jump on, and then she laced this crazy hook. And that song really kind of took off and kind of so that's how. And then John knew Nicole, so John has played that role. Kind of as a producer, got both of those features to happen. When it comes to like Paul, Ava, Jill, like those are all people who
Yeah.
I build relationships with just
Who you
as
just met.
good people, you know,
Yeah.
and obviously talented artists.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that I'm kind of like doing this full time,
Yeah.
I'm kind of just like navigating features and stuff like that. Like I feature on a few other people's songs. I have a few people that like I've said I'm gonna get them saxophone tracks. So there's like 2 like projects that I'm gonna lay some saxophone on, and then I sent a beat out to an artist who I think lives in Texas, someone who I've connected with through this like online kind of like music business group I'm in. So hopefully we can chef that up. So I don't know. It's kind of like I'm freestyling it, but at the end of the day, like I want to connect with artists who have something to say and can enhance a production. Like if we have a song, it's like, man, if you can make that song sound better and it connects with your audience, connects with my audience, like then we win. You know.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
you know, here at Fake Radio, we have a game, a collab game. So you choose one artist who you know in real life, who you haven't done a song with, who you wanna do a song with, and then one artist who you don't know, dream collab kind of situation. So who would you?
So. Someone that I do know that I want to collab with.
Yeah.
Could it be someone that I haven't collabed with in a while? Could it be a group of people, or does it need to just be one?
You can name as many people as you want. Technically, the idea is it's someone who you never done. Something
Okay.
with. But if you like, you know, it's however you make it.
Who's someone that I want to collab with?
Uh-huh.
All right. So someone. All right. So people who are famous. I'm gonna start with them.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pick 2.
Cool.
Russ.
Okay, I see it. Yep.
Yeah. Russ and Millies.
I like Millie's. Yeah.
So I respect both of those artists.
Yeah.
Russ, both of them have, you know, are great lyricists and MCs for sure.
Yeah.
And they both have like a message in their music. With that being said, Russ, I like the rapping and also just like the choruses and just like the message and like the independent nature in which he's built his legacy and his fan base. And like the consistency in which he releases music. So there's that.
Yeah.
And then Millie's, in my opinion, is one of the best like lyrical storytellers.
Yeah.
And not to mention like 617.
Yeah.
You know, rep Cambridge and Boston.
I've been listening to that one song he got tonight.
Yeah.
That song was like in my top most listened to last year. That song was
Yeah,
crazy.
and I got to see Millie's at a show like a week or 2 ago, and Twin the Selecta is Millie's DJ, and he's from Boston as well, and he's tapped in with my DJ Dre Sounds, Montana Dre. So I got to kick it with them for a minute, meet Millie's, and like I respect the hustle. I respect the commitment to sticking with it, because like it takes a long time. Like if you blow up overnight, like if you get hot quick, you're gonna probably get cold quick.
Yeah.
But the people who heat up over 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, like that takes so much effort. So I respect both of those artists for the commitment that it takes, and I really vibe with the music. Like they're in my top plays, like my playlist, like of frequently listen to music. So it's like, you know, I just relate to their music and I relate to their stories and those are, so those would be 2 dream features for me.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll put that out there. And then when it comes to, then the other one was what? People who
you know.
Who I know?
Yeah.
Well, I think, let's see, some people who I know. I think the first person that comes to mind, and this would be Addy.
Oh, Adamir?
I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
I really,
yeah.
You know, the project that Adamir put out recently is fantastic.
Yeah.
Plus, all the other work, you know, you know, Addy can do a bunch of different things.
He's a man of many talents. For sure.
So I'd love to get in the studio, chef up with Addy and
absolutely.
And Eli's the other person,
Eli,
right?
Eli, yep, your boy Eli.
And
he
then-
would love saxophone.
Well, he sent me a message about, hey, like, I'm going to send you some beats and stuff. So that one could be already in the works. But, like, I respect what you guys are doing big time. And that's why, like, I feel really fortunate for, you know, to have been invited to the album release event. and then the show, and then tapping in on this, and like, it's awesome.
No, yeah, and it's on. You said one time at the album release party, you said that Addie's success was a big was an inspiration.
Oh yeah,
and that meant a lot to me and him because like we do a lot here. We do a ton of shows. We drop a ton of music, all that stuff, and we always like we're around a really good community out here, but we're always like shit because from Hip Hop Society we had an entirely different community that we were kind of working around, like at Emerson with hip hop, and then just also with the Boston scene that we knew, and we always like wonder like, do people like, does this person know we dropped the album? Like, does this person know we have a show? Like, does person like, so to hear you say that you were paying attention definitely was a big confirmation. Meant a lot to the two of us because we
well it's like all right, so like when people are watching from social media, you never know what they're watching like for. So it's like, for instance, like there's some people who don't really care to be inspired. Meaning like they're good, like they got their job, they got their lifestyle, so they're just kind of watching social media to be entertained, right? Which is fine. But then there's other people who are like watching for a particular reason, like they're watching to be inspired, they're watching to be motivated, they're watching to like draw that inspiration from someone. And so like in my head I'm thinking like I want to come out here and pursue music wholeheartedly. And so then those thoughts started coming into my mind well over a year ago. So I was thinking about doing it for like a year and a half. So during that time, I was staying tuned into what you guys were working on. I'm like, damn, look, these are people that I know from out here who are out there doing it. And so that kind of was a constant, I could check in and be like, okay, like people are doing it, it's happening. And then for you to be like, oh, when you get out here, like we'll do this and we'll chef up or whatever. It was like, okay, at least I got something to do so far. So it was a great it was a great like benchmark, like a great foundation, I guess, And so to do a collab, with you guys would be a great like icing on the cake, you know what I'm saying? And just being in the studio, having fun, talking about ideas for songs.
And every time someone comes out from Boston, just to visit or like to move out here permanently, I always try to hit them up. I always want, because me and Addie we didn't know anyone in the music scene out here when we first started, so it's like I always try to give people that head start, like connecting them with the community out here, because it's like there's a lot of really cool people out here that you just gotta kind of know where to find them type.
And then it's like once you meet enough people, then it's like each event kind of like builds on itself. But it's like to get started, it doesn't always work like that. Like, but once you go to enough events, then you start to realize, oh, like the person who hosting this has got another one coming, so then you go to that one, and then you see the same people, and then you become friends.
And it's
or collaborators,
absolutely.
Or whatever.
And it's tricky too, like, because when I was going to shows, I was meeting people and like they were cool, but they like they didn't fit the vibe that like me and Addie kind of have, or like just because I have my own music taste, so it's like fit like for the podcast, or not anyone come up, but like fit my music I would listen to, or like stuff that fits with Addie, or just kind of like random people in general who just kind of are given just a off vibe in general. It's like I remember like when I first met Arlena, that's someone who like right when we met I kind of instantly knew like, okay, we're gonna be friends. Like I know like we're on the same wavelength here. So like it's always kind of a domino. You just talk to everyone, and that's kind of how.
You find the people who you connect with and vibe with, and it's a little bit of a journey. Like, that was one of my kind of concerns about leaving Boston. Like, I have some incredible friends I've made over the years. Like, and it's like the last thing you want to do is like leave the people that you care about and are your kind of your chosen family, to go try it again. Like obviously they stay your friends, but like you got to be willing to put yourself out there and like have conversations and meet people, and like that can be intimidating, but it's like if you just like stick with it, you'll find your people that you connect with, maybe not in the first event or the second event, or like you might have to talk to 10 people before you're like, oh, like okay, like I feel comfortable like getting to know people now. But it's been fun just in the short amount of time I've been doing it,
Yes, sir,
I've met some real people. I be like, okay, like this is someone who I think is in it for the right reasons.
I invited you to that show because I knew Kala, I knew a lot of those
Kala
people.
just dropped a song too.
Yeah,
right?
he did just drop a song. Shout out Kala. But I knew like
I'd like to collaborate with them too, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I knew y'all would get along. I knew you would get like you know, I see like, you know, the niches and everything. So it's like I definitely know. Like, are there other people who you know personally that you would wanna
with? Caesar is someone from the Recording Academy who is a recording artist and guitar player. And he invited me to an event. That was my first opportunity getting to perform on the saxophone a week and a half ago.
Got you.
So I think that would be a dope collaboration. This dude PJ Vegas, who does like a blend of indigenous music with I would say like hip hop pop.
Interesting.
And PJ's super talented. So we haven't yet to tap in since I've been here in person, but like we go back and forth here and there. So and then his producer is Tippy, and I would love if that door opened for a collaboration in that regard. Would be sick. And just support what PJ is working on, and you know, see how I can contribute. And as a rapper or as a saxophonist, you know, because like, you know, not every song needs another rapper, but like a lot of songs could potentially benefit from sax. So it's like it's a great like opening collab. Like let me lay a little sax solo or a harmony or something, and or even just give you a bunch of samples and let you chop them up and use them for the beat, like so. And then but once we figure it out, then that's a good maybe segue. Aux Chord, like the person who invited me on stage the other night, I just thought that was like literally, I don't know, we bonded over that because it was just like a cool moment where she invited someone on stage, right, and it turned out to be me, and then we kind of have gone back and forth, so I feel like a collab in that regard could be in the making.
Nah, that was mad funny because Addy was in the other room. He was like looking at the like he was in the other room chopping up because we know a lot of people there, so we were just, you know, talking to fam type shit. And then he comes in and you were on stage and he's
like, wait, what?
happened? I was like, nah, he raised his hand. Like, So that was a funny moment for sure.
Yeah, I liked the crew. What was the name of the opening crew?
Oh, Nerd.
Yeah, Nerd.
I've heard of them, but I didn't. That was the first time
I thought they brought a talent to the stage.
They're cool, yeah.
You know, because like I kind of got into hip hop when hip hop groups were a thing, you know.
Yeah.
And like you don't see it that much anymore, so you know, to see them, you know, coming together as sort of a collective is awesome.
And there's a lot of, and that's the thing I like about LA too, is there's a few official collectives and then there's a lot of unofficial collectives too, which I really.
This is a great way to connect with other artists, and also to like, it's hard to kind of get popularity as an individual, but if you have 6 people in a group, you multiply the chance. Like if you've got a group of 6 and each of you can bring 5 people. Now you've got a legit show. Whereas if you're just a single person, you can bring 5 people. It's like that's tough. You're not selling out anything.
You got to build that entourage. Like that's That's what I always be saying. That's why, like, you know, people, like a lot of people who come to Addy shows, they don't even know, they just know me and they're like, oh, like Easy, this is Easy's guy, so like we gonna and then like Mary, my roommate, who's on the show a lot, like she always comes to the show, so they always, you know what I'm saying.
You know, that's something else I really like about LA. That. People go out in Boston, but like maybe I just got kind of like not tired of it, but just like maybe I exhausted it to some capacity. But what I feel is that in LA, people don't mind going out. Like it's not a hard sell.
That's actually really true, because I think I see a lot of people complain like you got to drive everywhere, like you got to do it, and like that's true. Like it is hard to go like how I mentioned how I went to like 6. Or not, but like I went to a bunch of parties like in a row in Boston. That went like you can't do that out here that well. Yeah. But it is true, because I saw something. I think it was on Bad for the Community. Shout out Bad for the Community, and they were talking about how like it's like there's a lot of people who are from like Easton who won't like drive out to Dorchester to see a show, and that is like a lot of people will just from the IE will just drive up to come to an Addy Mere show. Like that's just kind of a thing that will happen out here. People will just kind of. That like their big outing will be, you know, driving an hour away to come to a show of ours. So that's like That's definitely something that is true out here. People do just come out. Like,
people like going out.
people do like going out. People
You know,
will just,
and that's been good for me too because I always used to love going out.
Yeah.
And then like trying to recover from the pandemic, it was just like.
Wait, hold on. Let me just adjust my thing because my battery's running low on my phone.
You're good.
All right, we good.
Yeah, like it's been good for me to like
Yeah.
like getting invitations from you and a few other people and you know like before it was like I'd be like, all right, if I had 2 events to do in one day, I'd be like, oh, like I'm tired, you know, I'd rather stay in or like do something else. But like now it's like that I'm in a rebuilding phase. Like I'm pumped. Like I have 2 events on Friday.
Yep.
And so I'm like, I'm feeling so fortunate and blessed to have opportunities, you know, and that just like has been good for me personally. And then it's like right now I'm still in an Airbnb. And so it's like my options are like stay in a little cabin by myself or go out and do music and like the options like it makes it easy. Like whereas like back in Boston I had all my, you know, everything very luxurious. So it's like to get me out doing stuff was like you're kind of giving up that super relaxation time. But now it's like I feel motivated to be out there and connecting with people and talking to people and like then when you get out there you're like, oh, this person's kind of like me. They've sacrificed all this to be in this position. So it's like, and that's something that I relate to with a lot of the people here. It's like people don't just come out here for no reason. It's like a lot of people you talk to are here for a reason, and it gives you something to talk about. And it's like, like you can tell they're passionate about it, and that's something that it makes me feel it's kind of easier to talk to people because you're like, oh, what's your passion project? And they're like easy to tell you about it. Like, oh, like, you know, like this is what I do. And you're like, oh, that's sick. Like, I can see why you love it, you know?
Yeah. A few quick more questions.
What you got?
I know you do the you like, is it like a decathlon? Like you
triathlon.
Triathlon, yeah. You do like when did you start doing that? How long you been doing that?
It was 2 years ago probably. I was like, okay, I'm gonna run a marathon. And like I had,
because you had the Boston Marathon song.
Yeah, I had the Boston Marathon song, and like I had dabbled in like long distance running, but I was like never very good at it. You know
got you. Yeah.
And then so 2 years ago, just a little over 2 years ago, I was like, oh, I'm gonna run a marathon. So I trained over the summer, like 2 summers ago. And then I ran one in September, and then I ran one in October. And so then I was like, oh, I enjoyed that. You know, I'm like, okay, that was hard. What's harder than that? And then so I was like, okay, I'm going to do Ironman triathlons, which is like an ultra endurance. The duration of the event is 140 plus miles. So, and it consists of a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and then a marathon at the end. So a 26 mile run at the end.
Crazy shit.
Yeah, you pull that off in a day. So then I probably started training for that in like a year and a half ago. So then I did that for what's this? So it must have been the end of 2022. I started training for that. I ended up getting a coach. So then I got real serious in like January of 2023. Did it mad hard all the way through to like I did my first one in July, Lake Placid, which is like coming up soon. So all the memories are coming back, you know, or whatever on social media, like it's reminding me. So then I did that one. That was my first one that I accomplished. And then I completed it, but it destroyed me. Like you just like don't quite know what it's gonna be like until you get out there and do it. And so like I finished it. There's cutoff time, so it's like just to finish felt like an accomplishment. But then I was like, oh, I want to do another one. So I went online and like signed up for another one. Then went to Maryland. And then I knocked one out in like that might have been like September. Yeah, it was like September of of 2023. And I trimmed 5 hours off my time. And so I felt like, okay,
there we go.
I scratched that itch. And then after that, I ran a 50K ultra marathon in the woods. So that was like a month or so later. And then I took a little break and figured out what I wanted to do. And then when 2024 hit, I trained for a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Then I ran the main marathon in May.
Gotcha.
That we just had.
The Boston Marathon?
No, it's
no.
there's one.
The main marathon.
Yeah, Maine.
Okay.
No, you're good.
I was thinking like
that one's in Boston's in April, and then
Yeah.
there's one up in Maine, like near where I'm from, Sugarloaf.
Yeah.
And so I did that in May, and then I took a little bit of a break, and now I'm getting back into my training.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the Sacramento Ironman.
Okay.
So Ironman California in October. So it's like I'm like dealing with some like light injuries. Like my knee has been a little off, my back's been a little off. So I'm like working on getting into it. But I just did like 6 miles out on foot today. Mm-hmm. Felt all right. So it's like slowly but surely. But like my training's about to pick up. But I got my bike and I've been running. I haven't been swimming much, so I'm trying to like figure out where a good pool is. I don't mind swimming in the ocean, but like, I need to find like a YMCA or like a place with a pool I can lap swim. But I also want to join like a tri club and like meet some other triathletes and it's been crazy. Like, ultra endurance training is, if you can afford to do it both time wise, financially, and just like physically, then it can be like really rewarding. And like when you're doing it, sometimes it feels like it sucks. But now I'm looking back on, I'm like, those are some amazing moments that I got to have, personally. Not just doing them, but like
those are big achievements.
But like really, it's the training that you remember. Like the day that you compete in the race is just kind of like, it's like the icing on top. But like being out there and like, you ever been to the Arboretum in Boston?
Of course, yeah. So
like I did almost all my running in there.
Okay, yeah.
So it's just like, I trained through like the winter and stuff, and like. Like training in the winter in Boston's hard. It's icy and it's cold and it's windy. And so looking back on that, it was a wonderful way for me to connect with Boston before transitioning here to LA. And something that I really value and I treasure. And I'm super thankful to my coach, this guy, Coach Terry. He helped me out big time. And I think he's tapped into Ironman. I think he's doing a triathlon soon. I want to say he's doing what they call a half Ironman, which is a 70.3. Which is like the same distance, just cut in half.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. One last question. I know, I'm subscribed to the YouTube channel.
Oh, say less.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold up. All right. So, one or a few questions left. It's recording. First of all, I know you have the podcast Seeds of Greatness.
Yeah.
So you had Eche Zona on recently.
Yeah.
Shout out to him too, because I know he have a song on like the 2K.
He did.
Soundtrack.
Galileo.
He's going crazy too.
Yep.
Guest on this podcast. You plan to continue the podcast out here?
I would like to. What I will say about podcasting is, it's like people like you are committed and have done 70-something episodes and do it every week and you're committed to it, and I give you credit for that. And I am not quite on that wavelength with my podcast because I'm prioritizing the drop in the music. So like I want to keep. You'll probably see episodes pop up here and there when the time's right. But like if and when I do decide to do it, I want to be more consistent with it. So, like, short answer, yes, I would love to, like, get that going the right way.
Yeah.
It's probably, like, it's not, like, the music is my number one priority. And then the content related to the music is number 2 priority.
Of course.
And then, like, doing shows is number 3 priority. Yeah. And once I get that all sorted out, then it's like, okay, I'm going to bring back the podcast. You might see an episode here and there pop up.
Yeah.
But, like, I would love to do like an episode every month or 2 episodes a month someday.
Got you.
But that might be like a year 2 thing, but we'll see.
Cool.
I'm open to it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, and then last question: Do you have a favorite song out of your discography?
This is hard to say. All of the 9 new songs I really like.
Got you.
And that's I can hit. If I go to my catalog, so I made a playlist of all of my songs. If I just go to the top, I can hit the top and just let it play for a while.
Yeah.
And so the 9 new ones, the one that comes to my mind that has resonated with me is this song called "Will You Be Ready," When your time comes, will you be ready? When your time comes, will you be strong? It's like, at the bar work is fire. I think the chorus is good. The saxophone section hits. And I was challenging myself, and I made that song fast. Like, I don't like it's hard to take forever to make a song. So it's like, if you can make a song quickly and it speaks to you and it's fire, like, it just felt great to make that song, and I'm happy with the way that it came out. And the bar work, like, it goes hard. The bar work goes hard, and not every time like I go to write a verse, it comes out something like, okay, I would listen to that if I just stumbled across this, and that's one of the songs.
That's another question, because you know you got bars for show. Like you know, I noticed in one of your new songs you got the line like, "Don't watch my bae unless you Hasselhoff" or something. Like,
don't even try to watch my bae if you Hasselhoff.
So like, what's your songwriting process? How do you kind of work? You do. I know you do a lot of freestyles. You do a lot of writtens too.
You know, it depends, right? So like when I make the beat, like that usually brings up a few ideas.
Got you.
So like, usually the first thing that come to my mind is like the chorus or some melodies, right? And then once the words sort of come to me, then I'm like, okay, there's a theme to this. And then the bars kind of follow. You know, and it doesn't always go like that, but that's kind of how it's been going. Sometimes I'll approach a production with an idea of what I want the song to be like, and then I make the music around it. But lately it's been like, okay, let's chef up a beat, put it on, feel it out, see what we got going, and then like build it out. And then like with Priceless, or even that song is Next Move, the Hasselhoff line. Where I'm kind of doing a little more like bar heavy stuff. You know, then it's just like, the chorus doesn't matter that much. It's more just like I'm having fun writing the verses, like coming up with clever wordplay and like puns and like funny like things to say, you know? So
Well, check out Devin Ferreira in LA. He's gonna have a lot of shows, gonna have a lot of albums. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yo, it's a pleasure.
As always. Great time.
Yo, check out the other episodes of this podcast because if you enjoyed this one, you're going to enjoy the other work. And this is someone who has been hella consistent and has made a platform for other artists. And we need more people to do this stuff, because there's a lot of people out there like me who rap, sing, play, whatever, and want to be on stage and want that. But there aren't a lot of people like Easy who are helping provide platforms for people like us. And so we got to support people like you doing it. So tap into the other episodes, show love to the other artists that are on there, and you just don't know how much little bits of support matters. Like a comment, like comments, liking stuff, viewing stuff, sharing it with your friends, like it really helps, and it really helps get us off the ground. So like, you know, show some love to this, what you're working on, and also just like personally, thank you for keeping me in the loop and like inviting me to stuff. Like,
of course.
We're gonna be. Let's do another episode in like 6 months or a year and tap back in.
Come on your
let's do it. Flip the script a little.
For sure. And just to kind of reiterate, you've done a lot for the Boston community at Boys and Girls Club at Berkley. I've seen a lot of your work. A lot of people that I grew up with love you. You know what I'm saying? So it means a lot to be able to return the favor in some way. And having to move out to LA, it's always. But you do a lot of great work too with the education. So
appreciate it.
So likewise with everything you do. But we gonna end it off for now. Rax Kills, Devin Ferreira, DF. Shout out Jimmy K Feds in the Squeak Squad. Shout out Jimmy K. Free Palestine, free Congo, free all them. Devin, Easy, we out.